Hey Jim, do you know what I love?
You look like an avocado.
Chimichanga wamawanga. Hey, nice.
Why did Deadpool not dab?
Because that would be too funny. Hello and welcome to a jar video on Deadpool 2, the new Deadpool movie. If you didn't know, Deadpool is a character who is red with a bit of black on him, white eyes. He's an assassin and he's pretty wacky and comical.
Let me tell you this.
Tell me this. Tell me these.
Do you know what doesn't make sense?
Jim, what doesn't make sense about Deadpool?
Swords on his back.
How does he get them in with such precision?
How does he get them in? How does he get them out? It's literally impossible. I'm serious.
Movie?
It's the same with Geralt of Rivia, but I mean, this is a movie, everybody.
Not a dumb video game.
Exactly. If they were like little knives or something, then whatever. That's doable.
So what is our history of Deadpool? What's your letterbox review for the first Deadpool?
Let me find out.
I'm gonna find out mine as well.
I was gonna look earlier, but then I forgot.
I forgot as well.
Because we were
see what I've rated it. As a bit of a reference point, by the way, if you want to follow us on Letterboxd, you can do that. Search IHE official or whatever. Deadpool.
I gave it exactly the same as this one.
Okay. Let me see what I did. I gave the first one higher, so...
You gave it the same as me.
We should probably talk about... Did you like the first movie?
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was slightly above average. Was my call on that one. And what do you think of Deadpool 2?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I think I like it less the more I think about it, which is never a good
For
sign.
me, it's difficult because I found myself like getting into it in the second half.
Yeah.
But then I just think to the first half where I was thinking like, Jesus, this is dog shit. This is bad.
Before we go into spoilers, would you recommend Deadpool 2?
If you like Deadpool 1, yeah.
Yeah, mine would be similar. Mine would be, if you like Deadpool, yeah. If you don't like Deadpool, no.
If you like Deadpool 1, you've already seen this at the cinema anyway. If you don't like obnoxious humour, don't see this.
Excuse me. Yeah, where to even begin with this clusterfuck of a film? It's kind of insanely annoying.
It's really annoying. It's weirdly paced as well.
Everything about it is weird and strange.
It's not conventional, but at the same time, it's really conventional.
Mm-hmm. What did I say when I walked out of it? I said,
You said, what do you want to do now?
No, the other thing.
There's a train at past.
No, the thing actually about the movie.
Oh, I don't know.
I was like, I equally hate it and like it.
Really? Did you say that?
I'm pretty sure I did.
I definitely wasn't listening.
Like, I laughed a total of 1 times.
I laughed twice.
Not very loudly.
No, there was one bit where I laughed and it was like way louder than I thought it was because it wasn't something...
This is spoilers now, by the way, so...
Is it?
Yeah, we've already said the other bit, so...
Have we?
Yeah. We said, would we recommend it or not?
Oh, right, yeah. There were 2 jokes and I've forgotten them both, so that
yeah, we've been trying to discuss this movie, but we just keep forgetting the jokes. I was like, Jim, are there any jokes, like traditional jokes that have a setup and a punchline that you can remember? And you were like, no. Well, there's that.
The only jokes I remember were the dubstep ones, which aren't very funny.
I thought that was one of the weaker jokes in the movie. The story, let's start there. Just ignore that.
The story
is like non-existent. That's
and
what
it's a movie where, I mean, we're in spoilers. Time travel is in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a story where nothing has any consequence, really.
Yeah. But then that would be okay if it was just a dumb comedy and it was really funny.
Yeah.
But the problem is, to me, it wasn't very funny.
No. And it does take itself seriously, like, a bit.
It
enough.
picks and chooses when it wants to be taken seriously.
Which in certain films is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what...
It's going from one extreme to another, though, is the problem.
Yeah. I found it did a very sort of typical, like, comedy thing, where it's sort of afraid to go dark. Like, for Deadpool, that doesn't make sense. Like, there's this character, I think he's called Peter.
Yeah.
There's a joke where he gets, like, spat on by acid and melts. But then later on, he just goes through time travel and does that.
Yeah.
And it's shit like that. Like, I mean, the joke was that he gets spit on and dies.
That was the whole punchline of that whole section.
That was the whole punchline of that character even being in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to die. But you were afraid to kill this guy because... like,
because he'd be a fan favourite and he'll be in the next one.
yeah.
He'll probably get his own movie at this rate. Because Deadpool's so huge.
I just don't like it when stuff resolves itself so simply.
It's the problem with time travel in anything.
Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Like I said to you, the film starts with a murder, which was like, oh, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Which murder?
You know, his girlfriend or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so when that happens, it was like, oh, wow, they're actually trying to do something different here. That isn't like the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with a new problem.
Yeah.
But
a personal problem.
But then Cable, played by Josh Brolin, comes into the movie, and he's just the Terminator. He can travel through time.
Yeah, they never explained why he had like robot stuff underneath his skin.
Whatever, comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as the time travel thing was introduced, I was like, oh, okay, well, she's coming back then. Don't need to worry about that one no more.
I didn't even think about that because they established that he can only time travel twice.
But once you even introduce the concept, you know there's going to be some loophole.
But if there is limitations, then that would be an easy way to write around it. But then once he uses the second time travel thing,
yeah,
at the end they just fix it.
I think I said in a video recently on an IHE one, I hate the self-aware humor like this. It's one of my biggest pet peeves of Deadpool. I like some self-aware humor. I think South Park and Rick and Morty do it quite well sometimes. But it's when you make fun of something and then you don't subvert and you just do the thing.
Yeah.
That I find it really frustrating. Multiple times in the movie they talk about like plot structure and plot devices and what is bad writing and what isn't, but then they continue to just do the thing again. Like that part where he does a superhero landing again. Like what? The first one was a comment on how every superhero does that, and how it's like, look how funny this is.
Yeah, they already made that joke.
Well, that's another thing. They repeat a lot of the same jokes. Everything TJ Miller does is just a repeat of the first movie, the same style of humor, just shoving him into a scenario and then getting TJ Miller to just riff for like 15 minutes, and then they choose what they think's the funniest take.
I was glad at like how much shorter that scene was. So I remember it really being long in the first one. Yeah, but they only did like...
They probably cut some of it out after all the allegations against him. Long. Especially the wow, that's really lazy writing when he looks at the screen or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but he just did it though. And it's like, oh, they're foreshadowing a thing, and then he looks at the camera and is like, that's foreshadowing. It's like, do you think I'm a retard? Yeah, I think the answer is yes. But the point is, it's not funny to me. No. Just pointing at things and then doing them is not funny.
If you do find it funny,
that's part of it. Like, if you love Deadpool, if you genuinely think the character's really funny and charming and amazing, then good for you. But I don't find him very funny. I thought he was actually one of the least funny characters. I thought the New Zealand kid was really funny. He had much funnier stuff to do than Deadpool.
They even reused jokes from that kid's other movie though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That was really weird.
I thought Cable was funny as well, or funnier than Deadpool.
Yeah.
Who even else was in the movie? There's lots of like concepts kind of thrown to the side. Like I really like the idea of the superhero whose power is just to be lucky. It's something that is unique. We haven't seen that before. And they kind of scratched the surface on what they could do with it.
Mm-hmm.
With a really badly executed like one shot that reminded me of Black Panther, with like really bad CG. Like
It looked worse than Black Panther.
Yeah, it looked worse than Black Panther. And Black Panther didn't look great.
I remember being like, at Black Panther, but
I thought there was something wrong with the screen of Black Panther, but
in Deadpool I was like, oh, like why are you showing this off? Like if you don't have the budget to,
why have a character be made out of metal and be CG and look so bad? Because he looked terrible.
Yeah,
I thought he was one of the worst looking visual effects in the film. Most of the visual effects were pretty bad. I thought even Deadpool at points looked really bad.
Yeah,
like his face and eyes and all that. I don't remember it looking that bad in the first one.
I reckon the graininess in the first one was to kind of hide the cheapness of the CGI. Whereas it's a good thing that this movie had nicer colours, but the CGI, I guess, really suffers because of it.
But going back to the lucky character, I can imagine like a really talented writer and director taking that concept and showing us things we've really never seen before with that idea. You could make a whole film around that kind of thing and do something really fun and creative with it. But it's just like, it's like a Rube Goldberg machine or whatever, where just like a lamp falls down and then it triggers this and blah, 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 blah. It was just like one of those, and then she does other little things. It's just these fun concepts that could have been really funny. Like towards the end, Juggernaut comes in, which I wasn't expecting, because that was kind of making fun of an old X-Men film. And that's another thing that the humor relies on, is just making fun of the old X-Men films. I
noticed a lot of the jokes as well. They really rely on you having to just know loads of pop culture stuff, and I don't know if the audience we were with, which was quite a small audience because of the time of day we went to see it, I don't think many of them like understood.
I think it's a film that is just way more intended for an American audience. I really do. Like most of the time our audience was silent.
Yeah.
Which made it quite awkward.
It was
points.
Awkward.
I'm glad it wasn't like the first one with loads of like sex scenes. Because that would.
Were there loads of sex scenes?
Yeah. There's the whole bit with like the Valentine's Day thing and lots of pounding. Release a lot.
I just don't remember that movie at all either.
Well, yeah, I only saw the first one once, so I don't even know what I was expecting. All I really wanted was for the effects to be better, the action scenes to show me something new and fresh, for it to be funny. It's like it, really. Because what do you think it is more, first and foremost? Because it's a comedy and an action film.
It's a comedy before everything
else.
It's
a comedy first, but the comedy doesn't work for me. So then what does it fall upon? The action. The action, I remember nothing about, really. Like, they do a thing where it's like, look, there's going to be a big CG fight now. At the end, with like the Colossus and Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And yet,
then
like, they just do a CG fight, and it looks terrible
because the CG is so bad.
It looks awful.
Like, wait, something they could have done. He goes, "Oh, it's going to be a CG fight now," and then one of them like hits the other once, and it's over.
That would be something. That would be going against. What you'd expect to see. But then they had to have the bit where his butt gets shown, and then they shove a cable up his butt, and then he gets electrocuted. A lot of it just seems so obvious. You can see it starts to become kind of formulaic in terms of how a reference is going to happen now.
Yeah,
it's been serious for too long. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There's the joke.
I thought one of the scenes I did find quite funny was when Deadpool is like dying.
Yeah, I thought that worked. It did work. It was one of those ones where the length it went was perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it was excruciating in all the right ways.
But it was like...
And it was well acted, well performed.
Yeah. I just like the way all the other characters were just like looking at him as if it was still an emotional moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, it's not come yet.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's what I see the potential in Deadpool, in scenes like that. But then there's like a scene where the opposite happens, and it's just like, God, he's so annoying.
The opposite happens?
Well, like, that works. I mean, a scene where his humor
right,
doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah.
It's just kind of like messy to me.
The thing is, I was expecting to really, really not like the first one.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is like decent.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than I was expecting. So then my expectations were a bit raised.
Yeah.
And then this one comes along and it's like, oh, like so there's nothing you can do more than the first one. Like,
Yeah.
why is there even a second
That's
one?
part of it. It's like, what do they do that's new and fresh in the sequel compared to the first one? I don't think there's anything...
There were some action scenes that I thought were good. Like...
I like when he broke his arm around Cable's neck.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And he uses it, like, to strangle him.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is creative. But
it's like, to get to that point, you have to sit through so much shit.
yeah.
Like, just nauseating nonsense for ages and ages. And so much of the film is filler. Like, that only works if you find it funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like we said about the bit where they're doing... It's a huge segment of the film where they're, like, doing interviews to form a team, and then they, like, jump out of a plane to intercept these trucks that are transporting these characters.
Yeah.
And it's this huge, like, set piece. And it's ultimately pointless because they will die anyway.
Yeah.
So it's all for a joke. But it's, like, such a build-up and setup for this one thing, where if you just took that whole segment out of the movie and had it so Deadpool just fucking jumps out of a plane, and it just takes a big chunk out of the movie, then it would be shorter, which would be a good thing, because it felt long to me.
It did feel way longer than the movie actually is.
And then...
The thing is, that was one of the few, like, comedy scenes that I actually...
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah. There were plenty of, like, filler scenes like that, though.
Yeah. It's just annoying that, like, the filler was funny, but then the actual important stuff wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they couldn't make a joke out of the script they had, so they had to just add these bits for humour.
Yeah.
Like, actual humour.
I thought the use of music was kind of annoying at times, especially the dubstep bit.
Yeah, that.
It's like every 5 seconds it was reminding me of, like, Suicide Squad, where they're shoving songs in all the
Yeah.
time. Little
I
references.
said that when we were walking, like... There was another movie... Like, I remember being pissed off in Boyhood.
Yeah.
When at the start, there's just, like, 3 songs in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool does the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly shoving, like, all these different hit songs, like 80s music and modern music and shit. Just...
There was some, like, really bad editing at points.
Yep.
In some of the action scenes especially. And it does that typical thing where the action is, like, flowing and full of energy, but then when it's a scene where characters are just talking, it's the most basic, simple, usually just shot reverse shot, or just plop the camera down. And a lot of, like, especially American comedy is filmed that way, where they just hope to get all of the entertainment from just putting funny actors next to each other and then just seeing what comes from it, instead of, you know, setting out, like, a really well planned out scene or whatever,
which is always funnier.
Yeah, you can tell which parts are, like, improvised and thrown in like that. We sound pretty down on it, but like I am right down the middle. I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd, which is like a 5 out of 10.
I gave it 3.
It's not a film I ever want to see again.
No, I am considering lowering my rank.
Yeah.
Because it's just like tiring. I remember in the last act of the movie, I just started yawning.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the best part of the movie, but it tried my patience so hard.
Because it had been so long by that point.
Well, it wasn't even that long for a comic book movie, but anyway, it's one of those movies where you know you're gonna like it or not.
You'll know if you love it within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, the comedy is the key factor.
I mean, I should have known that, like, it's just going to be more Deadpool. And ages ago I ragged on Deadpool for the same shit. But
it's like there's always that chance that they'll learn from their mistakes or take a concept and improve on it. But this, like, they're obviously going to make another one. Like, the hell else can this team do with this character?
yeah.
Like, they just it's so built around reference culture. All of it.
I've never read a Deadpool comic. I don't know if he's like that in the comics, if it is all references or what.
Well, I said to you, I like when he references within the confines of superhero movies and specifically the X-Men. That stuff is my favourite self-referential comedy. Because it's like kind of founded within this sensical but nonsensical backdrop. Whereas when he's like, I don't know, I can't even think of any of the jokes. Like, he's pulling out quips referencing other facets of pop culture, like, just constantly.
Yeah.
Like, he is the merc with the mouth, is what they call him, isn't it? So, like, I think we're just too English for him. I think it's as simple as that. He's just too annoying.
Well, don't be racist here, brother.
Well,
do you remember?
It's just so over the top.
Do you remember that joke in the bar where the fat dude with the big beard from the first movie has like a bad line, and then Deadpool turns to him and says like, "Oh, I'm never giving you a speaking part again."
He says that's enough speaking parts for you or something.
Yeah. What do
Did
you
I
think
like
of
that?
Yeah.
No.
Because that's a character that isn't Deadpool, like, acknowledging that it's a movie.
Did he do it?
Well, because he like badly delivered a line. Like, it was really obvious that he was intentionally badly delivering a line.
That one didn't bug me as much as TJ Miller.
No, the
first one.
TJ Miller one was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I guess everyone loves it, so good on you for loving it, but those are most of the reasons I can think of why I didn't really like it.
Basically, story's fine.
Well, story's like not even fine. I just don't like that it's kind of cocky in the way it thinks that it's above
That's
and
not
superior.
that's not the story so much.
No, but what I'm saying is that it thinks it's superior than the average superhero movie.
Yeah,
through its
just
cockiness
because
of the humor.
it's Deadpool, basically.
Yeah,
it doesn't do
anything. At the end of the day, when you
else.
look at the plot, it is just the plot of any old superhero movie. There's a MacGuffin that like can shut your powers down. It's about a kid who's gonna like kill. So it's really similar to
Looper.
Days of Future Past, Looper.
But yeah, the story, like, average, like, normal comic book story. Humor, not very funny.
Well, that was it, because Cable is Thanos. I kept being reminded, man, I really liked Infinity War.
Yeah, a funnier movie.
Funnier, better action, better pretty much everything.
Better characters. I'd say that the one thing that the movie had going for it was that Deadpool is like kind of a deeper character than he sort of appears to be.
Yeah. I was surprised they gave him, or attempted to give him, more kind of depth.
Yeah.
You understand the guy, at the very least. He isn't just like a maniac.
Yeah.
He has some depth. He's a maniac with depth.
Yeah.
But it did come across as rich sometimes when he's trying to preach, like, don't go killing people to the kid. And it's like...
Yeah, because that was particularly weird because the first scene with the kid says they hurt me and Deadpool immediately shoots one of them.
Yeah. There are lots of little things like that. And I mentioned one to you earlier where in one scene he like explodes himself into pieces and then it like cuts and then he's suddenly back together. But then later on he's pulled in half by Juggernaut. But
and has to grow big
then
legs.
He has to grow back his legs. So why didn't in the previous one he have to grow back his limbs? Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have just put them together again. Or I guess that's the kind of thing where it's like, just shut up, dude. It's supposed to be a dumb comedy. You're overthinking it, bitch. But that's one where I'd say it's kind of betraying its own rules a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta have your rules.
Because it would be such a simple fix.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be like, his legs were obliterated, so he has to grow them back.
Well, I reckon if they really wanted to have that joke, you know, with his legs being there, just make it so that they explain that it's been a larger time than 3 days between Deadpool blowing himself up and then being awake at the manor.
Yeah.
But he says it's like he's been asleep for 3 days and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already grown all his shit back, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe it's
if he said you've been asleep for like 2 months, then we can believe that he's grown that shit back.
Oh well. Anything else to say on Deadpool 2?
It's fine.
It's fine. I'm never going to see it again.
Yeah, I don't want to really see it again.
I'm glad people are enjoying it though.
Yeah, I'm glad that like a niche movie can be made.
Yeah,
if anything else,
we might get another Logan type film as a result of these films doing so well. So I'll always be alright with that.
You look like an asshole that's had a poop.
On that note, make sure you subscribe for a chimichanga or two.
TJ Miller on the next podcast, so tune in for that one. Thank you to TJ Miller for looking like a asshole turned inside out, then inside out again.